Garrett's job, right? Oh. Then they'd win their third one next weekend, and then they'd win. No, oh yeah.
I prepared you for this at the beginning of the season.
Oh yeah.
Your head hard. You didn't want to listen to me.
You did say that.
I did.
Wow, yeah.
I'm sorry, Skip. I'm sorry.
I got the hardest head in the world of sports.
You do.
Yep.
You
I
do.
do.
Well,
I do.
We'll have to see about that. And this is Vikings purple, by the way. Just before we get started, we have a ton to get to. It's going to work. This is purple for the Vikings today. So much to talk about. Does Patrick Mahomes or Deshaun Watson have the hotter hand right now? And will we see all-time greatness from Aaron Rodgers at snowy Lambeau Field? But first, we are going to talk Ravens and Titans. According to Fox Bet, Lamar Jackson and the Ravens are 9.5-point favorites against the Titans tomorrow night. As the 1 seed, the Ravens were off last week while the Titans knocked off the Patriots in Foxborough. We all saw that one. And Shannon, who wins this game?
You know, Skip, the Ravens have been the best team. I thought they've been the best team, basically, for the last 12, 13 weeks of the regular season. Their quarterback has been the best quarterback, has played the best, basically, from start to finish. He's going to be the MVP. I thought he should have been a unanimous all-pro selection, but three guys, led by Bill Polian and a few other guys, thought that Russell Wilson deserved a couple of votes, and that Harris was 47-3. You look at the Ravens offense, I mean, these teams are very similar. They want to run the football. They can throw it. But the question is, who do I trust in a situation like this? I trust Lamar Jackson more than I trust Ryan Tannehill. And even though Derrick Henry ran wild last week, Skip, they only scored 14 points. I think people lose sight of that. They make it seem like the Titans scored 33 points. They scored 14. Even though Derrick Henry had a monster day, they controlled the clock somewhat. I mean, because I think still at time of possession, the Patriots might have had a slight edge. But at the end of the day, I'm going to trust John Harbaugh in this situation a little bit more than I trust Mike Vrabel. Because when you look at it from top to bottom, special teams, I'm going to give the edge to the Ravens. They got the best kicker in football in Tucker. Coke, the punter is unbelievable. Their special teams make big-time plays. They don't beat themselves. Defensively, now, they don't have the suffocating defenses of the Suggs and the Reeds and the Ray Lewis era, but they're plenty good enough. Their secondary, they got put 3 guys in the Pro Bowl, so they're solid. Matt Judon can get after the quarterback, but Lamar Jackson is where it starts and stops. Now, we don't know the extent. What is reported that Mark Ingram came back to practice yesterday, but he was somewhat limited, so they still don't know. Gus Edwards get the call. Gus Edwards has been unbelievable this year, Skip. I'm going to take the Ravens, and the only thing that concerns me is that Lamar Jackson side after last game, so basically it's going to be 3 weeks since he's played meaningful football. With that being said, I'm still taking the Ravens. I like them a lot. I'm going to go 31-20. The Ravens get it done and move on to the AFC Championship.
31-20.
So you make a few very valid points. Yet, I am about to go with what I call a head over heart pick. I'm about to listen to my better judgment, to that little tiny voice of reason way back at the back of my hard head.
Yeah.
This obviously will be the showcase game of the weekend. 8:15, Saturday night, CBS, Tony Romo, Jim Nantz. And I will be rooting like crazy for the NFL's breakout star. And I'm not sure we've ever seen a star break out quite the way Lamar Jackson did this year, because he came off a pathetic playoff game against the Chargers at home last year to a runaway MVP season. And it took you a while, but once we all came around, I mean, he just took this league over this year, correct?
Right.
So it would be great for the NFL, and it would be even greater for this network if this young man leads this Baltimore team to the Super Bowl, because that Super Bowl is going to be on Fox. And Undisputed will be in Miami all week long on South Beach. Be there. And I hope that the runaway MVP and his 14-2 Baltimore Ravens as we speak, now a 9.5-point favorite this Saturday night. I sure hope they are there. But I am fearing the worst on this one. I got a bad feeling about this game. And I can't tell you how much I hope I'm wrong, but it has nagged me all week long, and I'm going to give in to that little voice of reason in the back of my head. I am feeling a huge upset here.
Really?
I got the Titans 21-20 in what will be the most physical game of this whole NFL season. This is going to be a headbanger's ball. This is going to be reminiscent of a game that was played January 7th, 2001. That game happened to be in Nashville, not in Baltimore. And guess who participated in that game? This man across from me. Guess who sat in the press box to cover that game? This man sat in the press box. It was simply the most physical football game I have ever witnessed. All my years covering your league, I have never seen such hitting as I saw that day. Baltimore at Nashville against the Titans of Eddie George. So it was Eddie George versus Ray Lewis, and it was a hellacious game. Shannon Sharpe didn't have a whole lot to do with the game because he got 7 targets that day, but he caught one of them, only one of them, and it went for 56 yards. It wasn't a tub, as in touchdown.
They got him at the 1.
They got you at the 1 yard line, but the game was pretty even, Steven. In fact, it was tied going to the fourth quarter, and you got a 90-yard blocked field goal return. That'll work.
Yep.
And then you got Ray Lewis slamming the coffin shut with a 50-yard pick six.
Pick six, yep.
Pick six. It was some football game to watch, and I believe this will be the equivalent of that. But you just mentioned John Harbaugh. I'm a big John Harbaugh fan. His father was a coach. Obviously, his brother's a very good coach. We could debate that, but he had very good run in pro football. Sure. And yet, I think we both agreed we didn't love the decision that John Harbaugh had to make at the end of the year. And he opted to sit everybody because you can't just sit this guy or that guy. If you're going to sit one, you better just sit them all because you can't handicap those who are on the field. And it's been almost 3 weeks. If they hadn't played, if it weren't Saturday night, it would be Sunday. It'd be 3 total weeks. So it's 20 days instead of 21 days. I just think it's too many days, especially for a young quarterback and an offense that was clicking at such a high rate. This young man had become the deadliest passer in the league to me, especially in the red zone, where he makes every perfect decision and quick throw and hits people in the hands. I don't know how he does it. But obviously, to me, he was the best running back until this guy came along last Saturday night in Foxborough. But the point is, I can't get out of my craw and out of my mind what happened to my team in 2016 in a similar circumstance in which they ran away with the #1 seed in the NFC. I'm talking about Dak and Zeke when they were rookies. And Jason Garrett had to make a call, and so they had a year-ending game that didn't matter at Philly. He did play them for 2 series. He played Zeke no series, but he played Dak for 2 series, and he threw 8 passes, completed 4 of them, and he lost the QBR lead that weekend, that Sunday. So then what happened after they took almost 3 weeks off?
I mean, hold on. Aaron Rodgers came into town. Are you trying to say Ryan Tannehill, Aaron Rodgers?
But my team wasn't in town for about the first quarter and a half of that game because they just did not show up. I don't know where they were. Maybe they thought the game was in Green Bay. I don't know.
Well, see, that's the difference.
It was 21-3 after a quarter and a half. And I couldn't recognize my team because they weren't ready after such a long layoff.
But you blame that, you put that on Jason Garrett. Now, if you believe that John Harbaugh is a better coach, a better motivator than Jason Garrett, clearly he'll have his team prepared, right?
You would hope so. I would hope so. But I can tell you that other coach, who is the flip side of Jason Garrett, he will have his team ready to go.
Absolutely.
Because they are chips off the Vrabel block. He was a hard-nosed player. He loved to play big, tough road games, and he has constantly had his team ready to go in big road games. What has this team had a recent reputation of doing? Spoiling parties. Remember a year ago, mid-season at Jerry World on a Monday night, they came in and just humiliated my Dallas Cowboys before my Cowboys took off and went 8-2 down the stretch. What happened on opening day at Cleveland this year when the Browns were the it team? You were loving them. I was liking them. and it was Odell and Baker and Jarvis and blah, 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 blah. And it was 43-13 Tennessee.
And was that his first year, Skip, when they went on the road and they were down, what, 21-3?
They were.
To Kansas City?
They were.
And they
did
came
that
all the way back.
Yeah. So what did they do? They actually started and sort of ended their year by wrecking teams, because 43-13, I think it wrecked the Cleveland Browns. I'm not sure psychologically they ever quite recovered from that.
Right.
And I believe last Saturday night at Foxborough, I think they ended the dynasty. We're about to find out what happens, but I don't think Tom Brady will be playing in New England next year. And we'll see if Bill Belichick can pick up the pieces, but the pieces were shattered by Vrabel and company.
Skip, when you and look, these guys, and the thing people don't, I don't know a whole lot of people remember this. Mike Vrabel started his career in Pittsburgh under Coach Bill Cowher, who's also a heck of a motivator, who's also tough-nosed. He actually is from Pittsburgh, so he is a tough guy. I spent a lot of time around Coach Cowher, and his teams were reflective of his personality.